1, 2, 3, 4. This is your buzzer. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that shows that it's recording. What is about even there. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as your light's going on, you're in business. Here we are.
Well, you're not recording it. Because
Well, we're recording.
More important.
Now let's play it back.
You're in business. The only way you need to stop is.
And then to get
And
this
then when you're
started,
through, you can punch stop.
I'd like to.
this stops it.
outline
Now that didn't
other
stop that a
things.
while ago.
Because the more important things that happen than that.
Ready? Now to cut it off,
Just to cut it, finish up, you punch the stop. And I'll let you know when, I'll keep track on the lunch and let you know when it begins.
thank you. All right, now we're ready.
It's going.
It's going now.
I
Let's
will-
get your
the more
name.
Important things are later on.
All right, we'll get to those. Let's get this first, and then we'll stop it and go to the others. Your name is Mrs.
Roy C. Morgan. Lula M. Morgan is my name that I use now. I'm a widow.
Lula Mitchell, that was, wasn't it?
Yes, Lula Mitchell Morgan.
And you were born in
In Payne County, near Stillwater, 1892.
All right. And your grandfather was in one of the early runs, I believe.
Yes, my grandfather on my mother's side took a place right there in the same neighborhood that we later lived
In
in.
the 89.
In the 89 run.
And the trip that your mother made from Kansas down there, I thought that was interesting.
She came from Iola, Kansas, and came by railroad to Perry, Oklahoma, and took a stagecoach from there. And when she passed the Stillwater and the place where OSU is now located, she saw just piles of lumber and brick out there
A building.
for a building which is
Old Central.
Old Central,
Uh-huh.
the first building to be finished there on the campus.
And your father in that community was a good provider and was also a member of the school board.
All
And
the
a
time
leader.
the four of us were in school. He waited until I finished.
Before he got off. And your house, your first house was, that was before you were born,
Yes.
wasn't it? But was a dugout?
Yes.
And then later,
And just shortly after, they built the big, really big log house. It wasn't a cabin, it was a log house. And it was built in the center of an orchard, and they had dug a big well there. And there was a road that came through our place because the sections were not definitely.
they were not laid out by sections then. And the roads went because of the bridges
Yes.
that were not yet covering
Yes.
the little creeks.
Yes. And then when I was 3, while they moved up on a road, because the sections had been all.
And they moved the house.
And they moved the house, the big log house. And I haven't any idea about the mechanical deal of it. I was only 3. But old Doug was our favorite old horse, and he was the only thing that pulled that house up there for almost, well, it'd be a quarter of a mile, practically a quarter of a mile. And we children ran out and played while my mother was baking bread in the house while they were moving. And when we came up there, why here, we looked around, thought the house would be in the same spot. It wasn't there, but 3 or 4 blocks further on.
And the bread was done?
And the bread was done.
Oh, I had this on.
We
That
may
light.
break for lunch.
Well, the little light is.
What?
We may make a break for lunch and then come back and finish after lunch. I'll let you know.
All right.
Well, I'll try to get through.
All right, we're ready. Oak Grove was the rural school.
Where I finished my eighth
Better
grades.
speak into the mic.
Oak Grove was the rural school where I finished my 8th grade education. Well, let's see. Oak Grove, 7 miles southeast of Stillwater, was where I finished my 8th grade, attended until I finished my 8th grade education there.
Is that where they still,
And this organization, Oak Grove Homecoming, is celebrated every October, second Sunday in October of the year, and has been for a good many years. They have excellent crowds. People come from long distances to attend this association. I myself did not get to go back until 67.
61 years.
61 years. It was 66. It was 66. 61 years before I ever stepped inside the house again. You do edit all of these things, don't you? Well, okay.
I believe you said that you met your husband at a box supper.
At the Methodist, I met my husband, Roy C. Morgan, at an Epworth League box supper at the Methodist Church, Stillwater, where I was a very active member. And that began the romance.
And he was a teacher.
He was a student.
Go ahead.
This Roy C. Morgan was then a freshman at A&M, as the college was called then. He finished 2 years and then was called into the service of World War I. We were married August 5th, 1917, a short time before he went, before he was sent to San Antonio, Texas,
Training.
for training at Camp Travis. And at Christmas time, I went down there and stayed with him until Well, until June 8th, when they embarked for overseas. He was in the 90th Division, machine gunner in the 90th Division. Let's see.
Did you hear from him pretty regularly?
I heard from him, but he was in the 9th Division, and they were in that first big offensive at St. Mihiel.
That's right.
And they struck the lines. They had been up to front lines for 3 weeks in pup tents, to a pup tent. And it was raining and it was cold. They didn't have any way of heating. And so many took the flu, and he among them. And the night of the offensive, September 15th, was they were all taken back by buses to the 3rd station. And although he says he did not have the pneumonia, I always will believe he did, because they fed him 5 times a day. And they wouldn't let him take his. You can do this. And wouldn't let him take the.
That's interesting.
Wouldn't let him take his covers down below his chest. And there was 25 men in his outfit that went back of the lines at that time. They had a red-headed Scotch woman for a nurse, and for their outfit, and she brought all of them through.
Well, good.
But I didn't hear from him for, well, it was 5 males, I knew that. And then when I did get a letter, why, I hadn't gotten the first letter yet, and I didn't know what was wrong with him.
What had happened? And then when he came home?
Well, he got home Easter in 1919. And that was a young, I never have known of an Easter being quite that early. But I knew because of literature in the station, experiment station there, that I had access to. I knew where his outfit was, although it was a casual outfit, and when they were coming home. So I gave him until noon the next day to get in touch with me. Well, and at 10, they were going. Well, he's going to let us know.
Well, we're
They are. Well, we'll let
Just say
on.
to be continued. So we'll
Better in a little bit, I hope.
That's all right.
That's all right.
That's just fine.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, now let's see. At Jefferson, your husband, you said, was with the FFA there 40 years.
No,
No?
we went there for him to be, we went to Jefferson the fall of 1925, and he taught FFA there at Jefferson for 5 years in the high school. Then I had already started a hatchery, and Mr. Morgan came into the business. We had chicken hatcheries at Jefferson and Pond Creek for 30 years at Jefferson, and 27 years at Pond Creek.
Well, and those did well, did they?
Yeah, well, yes, but of course we didn't make very much money during the Depression.
Well, no one did.
And let me see. And continued to live at Jefferson for 44 years.
That's where I got the 44.
Yes, but now in 1936, having no family of our own, and after waiting 19 years, decided to try to get some foster children, or to someone to adopt.
Mm-hmm.
And the first daughter that we adopted was in 1936. She was 15 years of age, had had a very bad because she had had so little. Her mother had died when she was 9, and
How many did you have in all? How
well,
many did you
then
take?
later on we adopted 2 twins, red-headed
Oh.
twins,
Oh, my.
and this was, all of these children had had a bad start. I
Yes.
mean, a
Mhm.
poor environment, and so we, then in 39, then we took the twin,
Mhm.
the red-headed twins. All of them have developed into very fine persons.
Wonderful. And where
And
are they now?
One is here in Enid.
And that one's name is?
Well, I'd rather not have the name.
All right.
I don't know. You know,
Uh-huh. That's all right.
everybody recognizes me as her own mother,
That's
and
perfectly all right.
they're really foster children because
see.
we thought they were too old to change their names.
I see. Well, that's fine.
And but she has one of the very most prominent doctors here. She's his office nurse.
Well, good.
All 3 girls married very fine young men,
Wonderful.
and all of them have 2 children each.
Well, that's good.
Now, through marriage and great-grandchildren, we have 18 in our family.
Oh, how nice. That's wonderful.
And so, let's see, what next would be.
There's one thing I'd like to ask you. Do you remember something of the early conveyances when you first came to this country?
Oh, yes, I remember we went in
Did
a
you ride horseback, or did you ride in wagons, or?
wagon. At first
Carriages?
I remember was a wagon. Then we got what they call a spring wagon, which was
Yeah.
a little easier riding, of course. But those were our two vehicles
Uh-huh.
for a long time.
And then?
My father was a truck man, and he took vegetables
Market.
vegetables to market. That's the way he made the biggest part of his living. And he could raise anything,
Green thumb.
green thumb.
Mhm.
And but now, let's see, we better go up to Mr. Morgan was a very successful teacher, and so many people wherever
Maybe
he's
you
taught have told me that he was the best teacher they have ever had in their lives.
He'll be well remembered.
Well, he is well remembered.
Very
He's
well.
passed away, and he was a community leader and a church leader. He could do anything in the church, choir, direct the choir.
My goodness.
He had music, and he was a very fine tenor. Bass singer.
Mhm.
Well, let's see. Then I guess I'll go
We'll
on.
have time for about one more story, real good story.
Well, I guess I'll give you this one. Lots of things have happened to us, and so many fortunate things. We've been blessed all of our lives. But I suddenly, after establishing the chicken hatcheries while he was still in teaching, I was too busy until after the girls had graduated from high school and away from home for me to express myself in poetry.
Oh.
And the three girls always gave me a big birthday dinner every year, and at one of them, we were having it at Ponca City, where one of the twins lived. She said, "Mother, I know what I'm going to get you for Mother's Day." And I said, what? And she said, Raymond and I, as her husband, are going to publish your poems.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And I have I have 55 or 56, and I'm going to have a second edition because I only have 3 copies of this left. Well, I have had.
What is the name of the?
It's just Lyrics and Poems, Lula Morgan.
Do you happen to remember any of them?
Oh yes, I have an Oklahoma song that should be the state song instead of the one that we have, really. And
could you recite it for us?
Let's see. You know, my native land is nestled where the moon and stars shine very bright, with sunsets beautiful and rare, and everything is mostly right. I had lovely views of hill and stream, and wondrous plains for all to see, with friends so dear to share my dreams. Oklahoma, hail to thee. Oklahoma, hail to thee, Sooner State so broad and free. Thy sons and daughters here have come to build in thee their home, sweet home. Oklahoma, hail to thee. Let's see. Oklahoma, land of fair and bright. Oklahoma, let's see. Oklahoma, land of delight. Oklahoma, fair and bright. Oklahoma, lovely Oklahoma. Oklahoma, hail to thee. See ample fields of, this is the freest verse of all. See ample fields of ripened grain that wave and ripple as I drive along the stately winding main, and greet me as I soon arrive. Let's see, what kind of a green did I say that was? The shady green, that'll be, it's not quite that way. The shady green of corn I sight, its yellow tassels nod to me, and cotton fields all robed in white. Oklahoma, hail to thee.
I think that's beautiful.
Well, so many of the schools, I sent it to all of the high schools that had music departments, and a lot of the at that time, that was printed in 1952.
1952.
And I had that set to music by Hallinor Lilness, which is one of the best writers that's known especially in the sacred music.
Who? I didn't get the name.
Hallender,
Yes.
Haldor, Lilness, and of course I wrote the music, and I published it.
My goodness. Well,
And-
you're certainly a gifted person.
And I have 2 patriotic songs. And,
You mind giving their names?
well, one is Torch
titles.
Torch of Liberty. The other is, Oh, Glory Stands for Liberty. Now, Oh, Glory Stands for Liberty is a short one.
Mm-hmm.
You have time?
I think so. Let's take it.
Hold high, Old Glory, to the sky, so tyranny and greed shall die. Her foes enshroud the lives of men who gave their all this land to defend. Our boys are fighting wars to end, that all men may be free to spend their life in fearless peace so free. Oh, Glory stands for liberty.
Oh,
Oh, Glory stands for liberty. Unfurled for everyone to see, with beauty rare and every new, may we remain to her most true. Oh, liberty, oh, Glory stands for liberty, a flag for freedom's purpose wrought, a flag for which brave men have fought. Oh, Glory stands for liberty. The red of glory stands for love of country, land, and God above. The white is purity of mind. May it be cleansed to be this kind, while blue adorns our banner too, to challenge this desire of you. America must be kept free. Oh, Glory stands for liberty.
Oh, that's fine. I want to thank you so much for this. I'm so glad we got those in. We were
I'm
so
going to have shortly, well, within the next year, I'll have the second, and I'll have some additions to it.
Oh, I appreciate it so much, and I know that those will be just a wonderful thing for our children and our grandchildren to have.
Well, I think so too, and I've got a story about every one of the grandchildren, and